Since 2010, over 250 coal plants have closed or announced closure dates in the United States. Did you notice that trend isn't true in the Four Corners? In 2016, the Obama administration approved 25 more years of operations at the Four Corners power plant. Now the federal government is looking at the plant's sister facility, the San Juan generating station, and is likely to come to a similar conclusion. How, in this day and age, when we know what we know about coal pollution, climate change, and economics, is the federal government making these decisions for our region? Let's take a closer look. If you didn't know, the San Juan generating station is in northwest New Mexico, about 14 miles from the Four Corners power plant. The power plant is fed entirely by the nearby San Juan mine. The complex as a whole emits the equivalent of 13 million tons of carbon dioxide and guzzles 6.6 billion gallons of water every year. It is New Mexico's single largest polluter. In order to continue mining operations at the San Juan mine past 2019, the mine and associated burning of coal at the power plant needs to undergo an environmental analysis called an Environmental Impact Statement, or EIS. Broadly, the EIS process works like this. First, there's a scoping period, which determines what will be analyzed in the EIS. Then, a first draft is written, followed by a final decision. Theoretically, an EIS would objectively evaluate the environmental and economic impacts of the coal complex and not be swayed by political or industry influences. But, as we saw at the neighboring Four Corners power plant, the process doesn't always work as intended. So, how does that happen? Well, first, at the beginning of the process, the government determines the purpose and need of the EIS. At this stage, they can narrow the purpose to match the outcome that they want. It's the difference between asking, should this plant be kept open, and how do we keep this plant open? The question you ask plays a large role in shaping the analysis you pursue. Second, the government agency writing the EIS, in this case the Office of Surface Mining, Reclamation, and Enforcement, can try to exclude or minimize the involvement of cooperating agencies if those groups have views or needs that don't support their preferred conclusion. This could include agencies that care about public health and impacts to fish and wildlife, or tribes and representatives from other surrounding communities. Third, the government can make it difficult for the public to engage in the process by doing the bare minimum to inform local communities about comment opportunities and stifling public dialogue at public meetings. Fourth, during the process, the government is supposed to identify and then analyze a range of management alternatives. For these coal plants and mines, that can include anything from doing nothing to extending permits, closing the complex immediately, closing the complex over time, or replacing the complex with a different power source. But sometimes they only robustly analyze the outcome they want, giving little or no time to analysis of alternatives they dislike. Fifth and last, they can pick and choose what to analyze based on which data support the outcome they want. For instance, during the Four Corners power plant's EIS, the government called the climate impacts from the facility's annual 11 million tons of carbon dioxide negligible to completely avoid analysis. So, what happens when you predetermine the outcome, ignore your partners in the public, narrow your range of alternatives, and leave out key analyses? You get this. Okay, so how do we make sure that doesn't happen? Well, at every stage in the process, the government is required to accept and consider public comment. With your help, we can push for an alternative that considers a just transition away from this coal complex to renewable energy options. Throughout the EIS process for the San Juan generating station, you can count on the San Juan Citizens Alliance to let you know when the government is taking public comment, what you should consider saying, and how you can submit your thoughts. During this process, we'll also revisit this graphic with short videos to provide a running scorecard on how the government is handling the San Juan generating station EIS. Bookmark www.sanjuancitizens.org/SJGS and follow us on Facebook to make sure you get the updates.